1. 2025 NBA offseason winners and losers, who came out on top. 2. 2025 NBA free agency week 1 shocker. Durant to Rockets, Bucks gamble and Thunder pay record deal. 3. NBA free agency shakeup. Hawks and Rockets soar, Lakers stumble. 1. 2025 NBA offseason winners and losers, who came out on top. The 2025 NBA offseason has unfolded with a mix of shocking moves, head-scratching decisions, and major shakeups that are already redefining the league's balance of power. This is the summer where fan favorites were traded, teams gambled big on unproven talent, and some franchises may have dramatically tipped the scales for better or worse. But here's where things get truly contentious: which teams emerged as legitimate winners, and which set themselves up for disappointment. Let's dive into the boldest winners and losers so far, and why some of these moves are sparking serious debate among fans and analysts alike. And this is the part most people miss. Many moves that seem smart or foolish now may look completely different as the season unfolds. What do you think? Are these early judgments fair? Winner, Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks have quietly pulled off a masterclass of roster reconstruction. Their draft night trade, a move we'll explore more shortly, was just the tip of the iceberg in a series of clever maneuvers this summer. Atlanta capitalized on the Boston Celtics' desperate need to shed salary, acquiring Kristaps Porzingis at the same time they offloaded the hefty 3-year, $47 million contract tied to Terrence Mann. While Porzingis's health remains a wild card, it's worth noting that his one remaining year at $30.1 million carries relatively low risk, especially for a player who was instrumental as a floor-spacing big for a title team not long ago. Atlanta didn't stop there. They also managed to bring in Gilgeous-Alexander Walker using a $25 million trade exception from the DeJounte Murray transaction, beating out several rival offers. His deal only slightly eclipses the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, expanding Atlanta's guard depth without breaking the bank. Losing Caris LeVert stings less with new additions like Alexander Walker and the versatile Luke Kennard, who joins on a 1-year contract. The result? Atlanta has not only upgraded its win-now rotation at key positions, but also snagged perhaps the most promising future draft asset exchanged this offseason. But now let's address the other side of that blockbuster trade. Loser, New Orleans Pelicans. Did the New Orleans Pelicans just get fleeced by Atlanta? Many believe so, and here's why this deal is igniting such strong reactions. The Pelicans handed Atlanta an unprotected 2026 first-round pick simply to move up from 23rd to 13th in the 2025 draft. According to Shamit Dua's reporting, even Atlanta's front office was taken aback. They had to ask New Orleans to confirm that the unprotected pick was truly on the table. Ultimately, the Pelicans, undeterred, gave up a future asset that could be exceptionally valuable. Remember, this pick will be the more favorable choice between New Orleans' own or Milwaukee's 2026 first-rounder. What if the Bucks implode or the Pelicans underperform while still hinging their future on the unpredictable health of Zion Williamson? That pick could land near the top of the draft, a potential franchise changer. And all of this risk just for the right to snatch Derek Queen at number 13, even though New Orleans could have simply drafted him at number 7 instead of Jeremiah Fears. If the Pelicans were fixed on adding both Queen and Fears, surely there was a less reckless way than giving up such a premium future pick. For a team coming off a battered, injury-wrecked 21-win season, this kind of asset management raises serious questions about the direction of the new Joe Dumars era. Do you think this was a necessary gamble for New Orleans or a massive misstep? Winner, Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets have made it clear they're coming for the Western Conference crown. In just days, Houston transformed from a team with promise to one viewed as the top challenger to the reigning Oklahoma City Thunder. Here's everything they did. Traded for superstar Kevin Durant, sending out Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick, and a pile of second-rounders to Phoenix. Signed Dorian Finney-Smith 4 years, $53 million, and Clint Capella, 3 years, $21.5 million. Lockdown extensions for Jabari Smith Jr., 5 years, $122 million, and Steven Adams, 3 years, $39 million. Brought back Fred VanVleet on a 2-year, $50 million deal, and retained key veterans on minimum contracts. Houston managed to replace youth with proven star power, essentially upgrading Jalen Green's spot with KD and bringing in steadier hands like Finney-Smith. Critically, the Rockets still hold onto their most valuable young players, including Reed Shepherd, Amen Thompson, and Jabari Smith Jr., who are primed to keep improving. And this is the part most experts overlook. By adding Durant, the Rockets have directly addressed the offensive issues that plagued them in the playoffs without mortgaging their long-term future. Is Houston now the most dangerous two-way team in the West? Or did they overplay their hand for an aging superstar? Loser, Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are at a crossroads, and their off-season moves have triggered more questions than answers, especially about LeBron James' satisfaction. Rumors swirled about tension between Austin Reeves, LeBron, and Luka Doncic. The Reeves agent denied these claims. The speculation persists. LeBron surprised many by simply picking up his 2025-26 player option, rather than negotiating a new deal with future flexibility. Meanwhile, Reeves declined a 4-year, $89.2 million extension offer. All signals suggest the Lakers aren't eager to take on new long-term salaries. The decision not to seriously pursue Dorian Finney-Smith, a 3-and-D ace, further suggests Los Angeles is pivoting away from a full-court press for short-term success. Is this a subtle push to transition out of the LeBron era? With Doncic in his prime, shouldn't the Lakers be more aggressive in chasing another star? And with the addition of DeAndre Ayton, a player his former team paid handsomely just to let walk, it's hard for fans to get excited. Are the Lakers truly aiming for a transitional year, hoping to reload in 2026 free agency? Or are they gambling too much on uncertain future opportunities? Winner, Denver Nuggets. Was Denver simply trying to save money when they swapped Michael Porter Jr. and an unprotected 2032 first-rounder for Cam Johnson? Maybe. But there's more to this trade than just the bottom line. Johnson's three-point shooting nearly matches Porter's at 39.2% versus 40.6%. And he actually takes more attempts per possession. The real win for Denver comes from the depth they bought with the $17 million saved in the trade. Bruce Brown Jr., a versatile defender who played his best in Denver's 2025 NBA Free Agency Week 1 shocker. Durant to Rockets, Bucks gamble and Thunder pay record deal. #2025 NBA Free Agency. Key insights from the initial week of transactions. The first week of the 2025 NBA free agency has been nothing short of exhilarating, with significant moves reshaping team dynamics. One standout is Cam Johnson, who symbolizes a major offseason transformation for the Denver Nuggets, who have also managed to reduce their payroll. #The crucial week of free agency. The most intense period on the NBA calendar isn't the playoffs, the draft lottery, or even the finals. Instead, it's the opening week of free agency, a time when the reputations of front office executives are put to the test, contenders for the upcoming season are formed, and numerous players, general managers, and agents make pivotal decisions, often under immense pressure. This high-stakes environment is further intensified as it follows closely on the heels of the NBA draft and precedes the NBA Summer League. It's a whirlwind of activity that can feel overwhelming. Picture the frantic phone calls at all hours, the behind-the-scenes negotiations, the promises made and broken, and the dreams of players and teams alike. Not to mention the life-changing contracts awarded to the fortunate free agents who find themselves in high demand. As a result, fans and analysts alike are treated to a crash course in the jargon of the league. Terms like first apron, second apron, luxury tax, and mid-level exception become part of the everyday conversation. However, it's important to note that the landscape of free agency has changed. Many superstars and rising stars are opting to stay with their current teams for financial reasons, as organizations are often willing and able to offer the most lucrative contracts to keep them off the market. The number of young players in their prime who choose to leave for less money is exceedingly rare. Consequently, the majority of movement among top-tier players tends to involve older athletes who have already amassed significant wealth and are willing to explore new opportunities, sometimes for less money in exchange for a more desirable location. Typically, the most significant player movements during the first week of free agency occur through trades, often instigated by players who are not free agents but are looking to force their way out of their current situations. They may either demand a trade or agree to one if their team initiates discussions and can broker a deal that benefits both parties. This creates a summer filled with excitement, resulting in clear winners and losers without a single game being played. #7 key takeaways from the first week of 2025 free agency. #1. The Bucks prioritize Giannis's wishes. The Milwaukee Bucks are making moves that reflect their commitment to superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is eager to win now. This urgency is understandable, especially for a player who has already tasted championship success and is considered one of the top 2 players in the league over the past 5 years. In a bid to support him, the Bucks have taken significant risks, such as waiving Damian Lillard, which has left them with approximately $22 million in dead money on their salary cap for the next 5 years. This decision was made to facilitate a deal with Miles Turner, a player who can complement Antetokounmpo's style. However, Turner is only a slight upgrade over Brook Lopez, who left the team for a lower price. The Bucks find themselves in this precarious position due to previous decisions, such as extending contracts for aging players like Chris Middleton and Lopez to maintain their championship core. They traded Middleton for Kyle Kuzma, who struggled in his first season with the team, and acquired Lillard, who is now recovering from an Achilles injury and may miss the entire upcoming season. Despite these challenges, the Bucks have ruled out trading Antetokounmpo, even if it could yield significant returns. #####2. Denver's determination. Similar to Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets is striving to reclaim championship glory, despite facing setbacks due to a roster that has lost key players. Remarkably, Jokic led the Nuggets to a 7th game against the eventual champions, Oklahoma City, even with 2 injured starters. In preparation for this summer, the Nuggets underwent a significant front office overhaul, and the early results are promising. They have made strategic upgrades while adhering to salary cap constraints, which is no small feat in today's NBA. New additions include Cam Johnson, Tim Hardaway Jr., Bruce Brown, and potentially Jonas Valanciunas, while they parted ways with Michael Porter Jr., Dario Saric, and an unprotected 2032 draft pick. Johnson is a reliable scorer and defender, Hardaway remains a scoring threat, Brown adds championship experience, and Valanciunas provides rebounding strength. Remarkably, the Nuggets managed to cut $34 million from their payroll and avoid the luxury tax this season, positioning themselves as a formidable contender once again. #####3. Atlanta's ambitious moves. Onsi Sala, the new general manager of the Atlanta Hawks, wasted no time in reshaping the team after taking the helm. The Hawks have made strategic moves that have significantly improved their roster without sacrificing much. They capitalized on salary dumps in Boston to acquire Kristaps Porzingis, a versatile big man who can effectively play alongside Trae Young. Additionally, they took advantage of the Timberwolves' financial constraints to bring in Gilgeous-Alexander Walker, a guard known for his defensive prowess, complementing NBA steals leader Dyson Daniels in the backcourt. Luke Kennard, a dependable three-point shooter, was also signed on a cost-effective 1-year deal. This proactive approach follows a successful draft day trade that netted them an unprotected first-round pick from the Pelicans, setting the stage for a promising future. The Hawks are well-positioned to make a significant impact in a conference that is wide open, with the potential for further trades before the February deadline. #####4. Houston's bold strategy. The Houston Rockets entered the offseason with a youthful roster, valuable assets, and financial flexibility, an ideal combination for making impactful upgrades. Rather than taking a gradual approach, the Rockets decided to make bold moves. They traded for Kevin Durant, adding a superstar to their ranks, and brought in Dorian Finney-Smith to enhance their defense. They also welcomed back Clint Capella to bolster their front court and extended Jabari Smith Jr., a promising young talent. With these additions, the Rockets have strengthened their scoring, defense, and overall size, positioning themselves to surpass last season's 52-win performance. However, the point guard position remains a concern, as Fred VanVleet faces significant pressure without a proven secondary playmaker, and second-year guard Reed Sheppard is still developing. ####5. Shai's record-breaking extension. In a remarkable turn of events, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has agreed to a 4-year, $285 million extension, making him the highest-paid player in NBA history, at least for now. This record is likely to be short-lived as the market for supermax contracts continues to rise, especially with the league's lucrative media rights deals. At just 26 years old, this marks Gilgeous-Alexander's second extension, with the possibility of a third in 2030 if he maintains his elite performance. The challenge for the Oklahoma City Thunder will be to secure extensions for Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren while ensuring they have a strong supporting cast. The Thunder have several advantages, including a projected increase in the salary cap, potential expansion fees, and a collection of first-round picks that can be utilized to acquire young talent on rookie contracts. However, the rising costs for top-tier players will also impact the market for secondary players. ####6. Celtics financial decisions. Conversely, the Boston Celtics have felt the financial strain of maintaining a competitive roster. With Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown each earning over $200 million, the Celtics have opted to cut costs. Reports indicate that Porzingis and Drew Holiday are among the casualties, with Al Horford potentially following suit. Teams are increasingly wary of venturing into the second apron luxury tax territory due to its restrictive nature and hefty penalties. This financial pressure has led the Celtics to reconsider their roster, even as they remain a title contender, assuming Tatum recovers from his Achilles injury. ####7. Timberwolves ongoing challenges. The Minnesota Timberwolves have reached the Western Conference Finals in the past 2 seasons and have taken steps to enhance their chances of returning by extending contracts for Naz Reid and Julius Randle, both of whom play crucial roles on the team. This reflects positively on the franchise, now under the leadership of Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lore. However, the Timberwolves have yet to address their most pressing need, a point guard. Without a solution, they may struggle to compete with teams like Oklahoma City, which exploited their weaknesses in the previous playoffs. Mike Conley, the current starter, is aging, and rookie Rob Dillingham has not received adequate playing time, leaving the team in a precarious position. The contracts for Randle and Reid have limited Minnesota's ability to retain Alexander Walker, who, while not a pure point guard, could have provided depth. With financial constraints hampering their options, the Timberwolves must hope for rapid development from Dillingham or find a solution before the trade deadline or buyout market. ****. Sean Powell has been covering the NBA for over 25 years. You can reach him via email, explore his archive, and follow him on Twitter for more insights. 3. NBA free agency shakeup. Hawks and Rockets soar, Lakers stumble. NBA free agency, a season of unseen moves and unpredictable outcomes. It's a time-honored tradition for NBA fans to jump to conclusions early in the season, and I'm here to say, don't rush to judgment. Let's dive into the latest drama of NBA free agency, where even the most seasoned analysts are still figuring out who's winning and who's losing. Here's the full story. The winners? Atlanta Hawks. This team has gone from contender to contender in a blink. Their biggest bet? Trading away an unprotected first-round pick to move up 10 spots in the draft, and swapping role players like Terrence Mann and Georges Niang for star Kristaps Porzingis. Now they're one of the deepest East teams thanks to picks like Zachary Rizicher and Jalen Johnson. Trae Young's shot at making waves in a week in East feels like a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Denver Nuggets. The Kroenke family has always been cautious with their cash. But last week, Josh Kroenke sparked debate by suggesting trading Nikola Jokic if the team's tax bill gets too high. In exchange, they traded Michael Porter Jr. and a draft pick for Cameron Johnson, a better fit for Jokic. They also brought back Bruce Brown Jr. for a steal, and even Jonas Valanciunas had a brief moment of redemption by returning to Europe. Denver's transformation from a prime suspect to a real contender is nothing short of miraculous. Houston Rockets. No one is having a better summer than the Rockets. After emerging as the surprise number 2 seed in the West, they've built a young, deep roster with a need for a late-game shooter. Kevin Durant's arrival has turned them into a powerhouse, thanks to giving up Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and a draft pick, and retaining key stars like Fred VanVleet and Dorian Finney-Smith. The losers. New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans are in a mess. They traded Jordan Poole, then moved their unprotected 2025 first-round pick to move up 10 spots from number 23 to number 13. If the injury bug continues, they could end up as a play-in team next season. Worse yet, they gave up a chance to land AJ Dybantsa for a draft pick they already had 2 of. This is madness. Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo's demand for a trade left the Bucks in a pickle. They waived Damian Lillard and his $56 million salary to make room for Miles Turner, but it cost them $22 million in dead money annually for 5 years. Turner is a solid center, but he's not enough to lift a team that's essentially a first-round loser to the playoffs. The Bucks are clearly overthinking this. LeBron James and Luka Doncic. The Lakers are riding high after selling for $10 billion, but their core is in trouble. Luka's relationship with LeBron, both a childhood idol and a teammate, isn't looking great. They prioritize future flexibility over immediate wins, but that seems risky. Even Doncic at 26 can't wait for the next big thing. After losing Dorian Finney-Smith in free agency, their roster is still missing key pieces. The front office isn't rushing to fill those holes. Honorable mention, the Indiana Pacers are stuck in a tough spot. With Tyrese Halliburton out and Miles Turner entering free agency, the Pacers are facing a year without their star. Fans are left wondering if the ownership will finally take the luxury tax seriously.